Hello and welcome to my Dutch Grand Prix driver predictions, the series in which you guys, the audience, can get involved. Following the link that is in the top line of the description down below, you'll be sent to a Google Docs form in which you'll be asked a series of questions, which I'll be answering in just a little moment's time, and then you'll be entered into the Audience Prediction Championships. Also, just want to say apologies for missing the one in Belgium. However, as the race didn't really happen and the race wasn't really a race, it's not too big of an issue, but we are back for Holland. So we will be going over the Dutch Grand Prix predictions for qualifying, one bold statement encompassing the entire weekend, and then predictions for the race as well. So how exactly does this work? By following that link in the top line of the description, you'll be asked for your top 5 for qualifying, your top 5 for the race, and then, like I said, one bold statement around the entire weekend. Now, this bold statement can apply to qualifying, this can apply to the race, this can apply to both, it can apply to neither, it can be absolutely anything to do with the entire weekend. Obviously, the more lenient you are with your statement, the more likely you are to score the bonus points, but the more bold you go, the more satisfied you will feel that you managed to get it right. Now, of course, there is going to be a small little scoring section for all of this. You will score yourself 2 points for a correct driver in the correct position inside your top 5 for qualifying, and 1 point for the correct driver inside your top 5 but not in the correct position. Then exactly the same point scoring is awarded for the race, and then for the bold statement you will receive 5 bonus points. Now, once I total it all up on a video that will probably get released on Sunday of me just doing a small little race recap, if you do notice any mistakes in the scoring, as it is all done by myself, please, for the love of God, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I will not be able to correct it, as it does take a long time to sift through all of the entries. On average, we get about 50 plus entries per race, and there's over 100 unique entries in this entire season so far. But without further ado, let us quickly take a look at the whole summated table of all of the audience predictions, and we can see that Evan Darcy is still leading the way on 145 points, 10 clear of Joe Bisho and 15 clear of a Doctor Who channel, with myself in P4 joint with Arturo Salazar. We then have several people also above 100, with Ritterage on 100 exactly. We then have a couple of people below 100 in that second half of the top table, and then we have people in the 50s and then also down into the 30s in that second table, with another section of entries looking a little bit like this. Now, do not worry if you're not super high up in this leaderboard, as this is the summated board overall. So this counts every single entry that people have made. And obviously people that have only entered into 1 or 2 of these events aren't going to score as highly as people like myself or Evan Darcy, who have entered into every single one of these events. And in the overall scoring video that I create on probably Sunday, or maybe even Monday, depending on when that actually gets out, there is a secondary leaderboard that I pop out alongside this one, which is the average score for the entries that you have made. And if you see yourself high up in that leaderboard, you know you are scoring really well. So with all of that out of the way, we will jump on into my predictions, and we will start with my top 5 for qualifying. And I think no surprises here. I have gone for a Max Verstappen pole position around his home track, his first ever home Grand Prix. It was delayed last year, all of the anticipation in the fastest car this year. I believe he will absolutely romp away with the pole position. However, close on his heels will be title rival Lewis Hamilton, who again himself will be a class of the field, but just not quite able to catch up to Max Verstappen, with I think Valtteri Bottas actually stepping up his game, with the whole rumours of George Russell taking his seat, and that's already a done deal. They're just waiting to announce the Williams driver. I think Bottas is going to want to put in a little stamp of authority, especially after his poor weekend in Spa, compared to George Russell's absolutely sensational weekend in Spa. And P4, I've interestingly gone for Charles Leclerc. I think the Ferraris might just work really well here in Zandvoort. It seems like a track that might just suit them, especially compared to the McLarens. And P5, I've gone for Sergio Perez, as although he is doing really well this weekend, he just doesn't seem up to the challenge of Max Verstappen. Look back at Spa for practice 1 and practice 2 when it was relatively dry. He was 9/10 of a second off of the pace, and on average in qualifying so far, excluding the rainy events such as Spa, where he was over 2 seconds behind, much like Valtteri Bottas was to Lewis Hamilton, he's around 6 to 7 tenths back. that's a lot further away than people like myself was actually first anticipating. So I do feel that Sergio Perez is going to slot himself into P5, with my top 5 for the race looking a little bit like this. Max Verstappen, I genuinely think is going to go for a lights to flag victory, a Grand Slam victory at his home event. If not a Grand Slam, then it's going to be a sort of close battle with the P2 man, Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen, I believe, will retake the championship lead in the drivers' standings at his home event. It's currently only 3 points after the farcical race of Spa. It's currently only 3 points at the minute, and I do believe that Verstappen will retake that with a victory in Zandvoort. And that leads me to fill out the final podium position with, again, Valtteri Bottas. I just feel that's a sort of semi-safe option, as again, we haven't seen any racing around Zandvoort. We don't really know what these F1 cars can do. So I think putting the two Mercedes and Max Verstappen on the podium is a fairly safe bet. However, for P4, I've gone for Lando Norris. I believe he's going to have a significantly better race compared to his qualifying. Qualifying, he's definitely going to be in the top 10, but I don't quite think he's going to make it into the top 5. But definitely for the race, he will march forward. And then for P5, again, I've gone for Sergio Perez. This was a massive toss up in my head. I don't know why I was going to say top up, but toss up in my head between Sergio Perez and then Charles Leclerc for P5 overall. And I just think the Red Bull might just have that little bit better race pace, especially if Perez is in that riff-raff midfield battle. He's going to lose out massively to the top couple of positions and not able to get through that field. And so from my race top 5, this leads me quite nicely into my overall bold statement. Williams will score again for the 3rd race in a row. I genuinely believe that Williams will score again. And in what capacity, I do not know, and I don't want to say, otherwise that's just going to reduce my scoring capacity for this event. So any Williams driver, be it George Russell or Nicholas Latifi, will score any amount of points here in Zandvoort. That is my bold statement. And there we go, there are my predictions for the Dutch Grand Prix, all done and dusted. Make sure to get involved following that link in the top line of the description down below, and then also to let me know in the comments below what you thought of my predictions and exactly what your predictions are as well. But that is all I've got for you today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next episode with whatever and whenever I decide to make it. I'll see you guys then.